Growth hack your brand and then destroy anything that moves.
You need to grind hustle your platform manifest.
It's all about entropy, elegance, and finance. Blockchain.
Invest in real estate every day.
Invest in meal estate every morning.
You need to mind hack the mind shackles that are grabbing your mind. Entrepreneurs.
Entrepreneur. Teach a man to fish and he'll eat for a day. Eat the man who just fished and you'll eat for a lifetime.
Spartans!
Business
Money Hacks.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Business Money Hacks. I'm Bridge Stewart.
And I'm Dustin Taylor Hahn. And today we want to talk about crowdfunding. Funding for crowds. Or funding for you.
Anybody can crowdfund. Anybody can give money to an organization or a nonprofit. But it takes a little bit more daring, I guess, to set up the crowdfunding for yourself.
Back in the old days, it was venture capitalism. You'd have to go up, climb a mountain and try to get money out of them. We talked about the big fat cats who live on top of the mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Extensively in a previous episode. But it's not ideal. It's much better to get money out of the little people, as they say.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a revolution has happened in the last 10 years or so. No longer do you need to, get it from these big fat cats. You can get it from the skinny cats, too. The small cats. Sometimes you take a little bit from a starving cat. You take a little bit from a bunch of starving cats, and then suddenly you can become the fat cat. Just a little cream from a lot of cats.
I like that metaphor. Just a little milk. I guess it's a metaphor for me, but for you, you've actually taken a little bit from little cats. Specifically, you have a lot of starving cats around your house at the moment. Just so you know.
Yeah, I do. I like to sort of have a visual representation of the metaphors we use. So I have purposely gotten a lot of cats around my house that are, they're pretty hungry. They're pretty thirsty. They don't have a lot of access to resources. And, I'll give them a little bit of milk, but I take a little bit of milk for myself, too. And that sort of just gets me in the mind state of, hey, I got to get a little bit of cream from all these cats, both literal and metaphorical.
Well, I got to ask you, when you're done with those cats, I could use some cat brains. I'd love to crack those brains over some firewood and make some delicious cat brain eggs.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. I don't know if we should be talking about frying cat brain eggs on this business podcast that we've developed, talking about how you can make some money through crowdsourcing. Just may we leave the cat eating to a minimum on this podcast.
You take some cat brains, you sauce it up, add some spice to it, add some mushrooms, make a cat brain omelet.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely talked about this before. Let's not talk about eating cat brains on the business podcast. I just don't think it really jives with what we're going for, and frankly, I think it kind of disturbs a lot of people.
Fair enough. Well, the subject is crowdsourcing. Bridge, we've crowdsourced to our audience in the past. What we did was we said we needed money for the podcast for advertisement, for various reasons. And I used that money.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was kind of desperate at the time to fix my face.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty great. I'll be honest, I was pretty furious when I heard that you had used the money that we were going to be using for the podcast towards reconstructing your face and finding your this whole thing with your father's body stuffed with cash. I was pretty furious when I first heard about that, but I have to say, in retrospect, that was a brilliant crowdsourcing technique. And I think that brings us to this point of, with crowdsourcing, there's what you say the crowdsourcing is going to be for, and then kind of what you do.
Basically, the idea is you get money from people.
Yep.
You say you're going to do one thing.
It's brilliant.
And then you do something else with the money.
Oh, yeah. It's just a brilliant concept. And here's the thing. A lot of people out there are saying, oh, but you're lying to us skinny cats. Hey, how dare you try to pull the wool over our cat eyes. I don't think that's the right way to think about this. Here's the metaphor I like to use. With a magician, when you go to a magic show, do you see the magician do a trick and be like, "You're lying. You lied to me because you did this"? It's like, no.
Devil,
simply
burn him. Burn him.
Burn him. I mean, yeah, maybe 200 years ago they were doing that, but we live in a much more rational age.
We sure do, Bridge. We sure do.
And so we're not burning magicians quite as much as we used to. And so that's sort of the metaphor I like to use. We're magicians, simply telling you one thing and doing another, much like magicians.
Like I got a lot of emails about, using the money for something else, something personal, and that's annoying. I don't want that.
It's obnoxious.
Yeah, you don't need
These skinny
that.
cats, they can get pretty annoying, these skinny cats.
Yeah, they were in terms of
Yeah, that's what they sound
that's
like
what the
on
emails,
Twitter.
The whole Twitter thing, I don't get. It's just people roaring to each other.
Yeah, sometimes I'll be on Twitter and I'll just get an audio recording and it's just it's like, oh God, here's another starving cat complaining about the crowdsourcing I was doing.
My point is that I got a lot of feedback, negative feedback, and I don't need more negative feedback in my life because I use the money for something else. And for my next venture, I think I just set up a separate email connected to my crowdsourcing campaign. I could even use a different name.
Yeah. I feel like that's a key component with these crowdsourcing techniques is you got to have a separate email for these things. For example, my email that I always give out is greg@micronet.org that I hand out to investors, and they don't bat an eye when I give them that email, even though, who uses a .org anymore? So, yeah, you got to have separate emails for these crowdsourcing techniques.
If you can make your email even more confusing, like what if your email was network.com?
Or just tell them, hey, yeah, my email, 7. And they're like, well, what's it at? No, it's just 7. Just put in 7. Trust me. It'll work.
Sir, where can I reach you? I've lost a ton of money in this venture. Where can I reach you? I need to talk to you about that. And then you yell back at them.
Yeah. That's a big thing with cats.
Is it?
It's an important thing. Generally, I think that's a great move to, you're at a conference, some skinny cat comes up who got, they lost a little bit of money in your crowdsourcing techniques, and they're like, meow, meow. You hiss very loud at them, and then hand them a card with the number 7 on them, and say, get a hold of me. You feel free to email me. And then leave.
I like to call that the Lewis Carroll. You just...
A lot of hissing goes a long way.
A lot of hissing, some sparks. We're talking about the magician techniques. You just poof one way and run. Actually, you don't even have to say 7 to him. You could just give him a 7 of diamonds. So the idea is someone's upset at you for using your money for something else. That you hiss at them and you give them a 7 of clubs.
Exactly. You really need to think of yourself as like a cat magician, half cat, half magician, when you're a tech entrepreneur trying to accomplish crowdsourcing. I've heard Larry Ellison has installed claws in his hands. Yeah, I heard he did that. I kind of like to compare it to the musical Cats, because, that's, the movie, those cats look pretty ridiculous, but you go to Silicon Valley, there's going to be a lot of dudes looking like that, so, yeah, just be prepared.
Yeah, it's very popular up there. Frankly, that entire film was crowdsourced. When Cats was out on Broadway, they got some ravenous fans, and they wanted more. More content.
Yeah, it's really smart, and a lot of people in the entertainment industry have, moved to trying to get into tech stuff. And a lot of people don't know this, but Judi Dench in the movie. That's what she looks like now. Like, people are like, oh, she looks crazy in that cat outfit. Like, that's what Judi Dench looks like, because she got into Silicon Valley tech industry, and that's sort of what she got to look like these days.
The guy who directed the Cats film, he crowdsourced it. He said that he was giving money, to a leukemia fund, and said he just decided he wanted to produce Cats, featuring James Corden, Judi Dench, and Taylor Swift. Cats.
Yeah, it's a beautiful metaphor for the .com boom, essentially, is what Cats is. It's interesting because a lot of people were sort of like angry, like, oh, meow, like, how dare you? I thought I was going to give money to leukemia, brr, meow. But when you think about it, man, like, I feel like he should be up there with, like, David Copperfield. I mean, that was quite a trick. He took all these people's money, put it in his hand, and said leukemia. And then in the other hand, it was like cats. It emerged out of his other hand with cats. That's quite a trick, and I'm really impressed, and I'm very proud of what he did.
Kind of like a David Copperfield, Bill Gates type, a master magician and a master venture capitalist, a master businessman.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of people don't know this. I mean, Bill Gates got his start at the Magic Castle in Los Angeles. Mm-hmm. He was
working in film at the time. He was a script supervisor, and he wasn't making much money off of that. So, he went to the Magic Castle, and that place, you can't get into the Magic Castle unless you're...
unless you've installed fangs into your mouth. There's no way you're going to be able to perform tricks at the Magic Castle. But yeah, Bill Gates, wow, what a legend. He is the original tech entrepreneur, crowdsourcing cat magician, I would say. He has totally changed the industry through his crowdsourcing techniques.
I mean, we all know Bill Gates from that, but also Bill Gates was very successful in computers. He designed a computer, and everyone bought it.
A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't know he was into computers.
Yeah, he designed a computer, and everybody purchased the computer. And in fact, a lot of people use his computers today. His software.
It's brilliant, and a lot of people don't know this. With Windows, how he got that off the ground, his investors were like, "Oh, this is too crazy, Bill. Like, what are you gonna do? You can't do this." And that was the fat cats talking, and Bill Gates was like, I'm tired of these fat cats. Let's take a little cream from the skinny cats." And so, he got everybody to. I think back then it was AIDS research
in Africa or something.
Yeah,
it's all very shady.
It was AIDS research, like it was the height of the AIDS epidemic, and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna cure AIDS," and then it was Windows that he made instead.
Yeah, he said he was gonna cure a terrible disease or a terrible virus, and instead he created his very successful computer ventures. I gave him a lot of money at the time. I had some issues going on with myself, and I thought, if I could just get AIDS fixed, that would be good. That would be good for me. I bought a computer instead.
Yeah, back then I was pretty worried about that too. I specifically remember being in my house and being like, "Oh my God, the AIDS is going to get me. It's going to get me. Only Bill Gates can fix this. Give him all the money. Give him all the money quick." And then when he came out with Windows, I was pretty furious that he had swindled me like that. But I'm still using Windows. It's a beautiful software.
Yeah, I remember the exact same thing. I bought the computer. I turned it on. It has that beautiful sounds. When it turns on, my eyes glaze over and I just start.
Look. It takes a cat to know a cat. And Bill Gates knows what makes a cat purr. Let's just say a lot of purring was happening after he made those computers of his.
Bridge, have you been kind of following Bill Gates' ventures now? Like what he's up to?
Yeah,
it's really all fascinating
he's been up
stuff
to quite
here.
a bit, especially in the last few months.
He's in the chip game. He's trying to get. I think he likes to keep things, under wraps. But I think the idea is he wants to get chips on everybody, or he wants to put it in the back of their necks. I do like the idea of chips.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I believe any of this. This is all these crazy conspiracy theories that people just keep pumping out.
Microchipping people and tracking them.
No way.
It's a huge venture.
No way.
You could pay for everything. You don't need to walk around with cash anymore. You could just put your neck to the cashier, and then she'll scan you, and then you're on your way.
See, it's these crazy conspiracy theorists that put out these lies and stuff. You can't do that with chips. That's old tech. Mm-hmm. The future is liquid. You gotta. It's all about the liquid. You don't want a chip in your arm. You want liquid in your arm. You want liquid. And so that's what he's developing, is a liquid substance that sort of you just pour on yourself. And that's how you can, pay for things. It's just being constantly covered in this liquid. That's the future.
Bill Gates liquid. Okay, let me look. Oh, interesting. Let me click around here. Bill Gates and So I see there's a photo of Bill Gates. He's standing next to a pool of silvery liquid.
Yep.
And his wife is inside the pool. She looks
younger, doesn't she?
She looks younger. What do you think the idea
They
here
both
is?
look younger. I mean, look at Bill Gates. I mean, he looks like he's in his 30s now. It's all because of the liquid. And he wants to give everybody this liquid, and I'm willing to pay for it. That's something I would definitely crowdfund.
I'm kind of furious. I gave him money for the chips.
Ooh.
Yeah, I got an email. It said Bill. It just said bill@7.org.
Ooh.
It said, hey, I need money for these microchips. We're going to put it in everybody. You're going to make a lot of money. You're going to be able to track whoever you need.
So
he's not doing
it looks
the
like
micro.
an old cat magician might have pulled a trick on you with these with the chips. Just imagine that a half cat, half magician walked up to you and sold you on some chips, and then he put those chips in his hand and they disappeared, and out of his other paw, liquid emerged. That's sort of what happened. And then he handed you a card that said 7.
Well, I have to respect the game. He's been doing it for a lot longer than I have.
You have to respect the show that he's performing, because that's what it is. That's what Bill Gates is. He's a performance artist. Mm-hmm. People don't realize this. Everything that Bill Gates does is a performance, from creating computers to dressing up like a cat at his home. Bill Gates is a mastermind. Have you seen his foundation? I've been in the lobby of the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. It's decadent. They've got pools of the liquid in the lobby. They've got all sorts of fish swimming around in there that somehow, you look at the fish and they get younger as you watch them. You see these dolphins swimming around in these pools of liquid. Mm-hmm. The dolphins are getting smaller because they're getting younger. This is Gates in his prime right here.
So he sold you on the liquid.
He sold me on the liquid. Well, what more? He can't go further than liquid, right?
What's further than liquid besides gas? Some sort of...
Wait, do you think he crowdsourced me?
I don't want to make any assumptions here, but it's possible he's crowdsourced you like a cat, like a dancing cat. Do you think that's possible?
Yeah, he definitely gave me a business card that said 8 on it, and I thought, well, it's 8, it's not 7. So I thought this was for real, but I definitely have emailed that several times over the past few months and have not received anything. Mm-hmm. This is very disheartening. I didn't even think about this because I always thought liquid was the furthest you could go in regards to tracking technology.
No, I think I really want to use that term in cats. That's called...
It's when they die, right? Or they get sent off in the balloon.
I don't know. I never saw cats. I just know that there's a term.
The goal for a cat is to win the competition at the end, a talent show essentially, and they get sent off into a balloon in the sky.
Maybe
and there's a term for that.
I think that should be what Bill Gates is doing. Like that's his plan.
What is it called?
Oh yeah, it starts with a J.
Jellicle choice. The Jellicle choice is the winner of the talent show, and then they get put into a hot air balloon and sent to the sky.
So Bill Gates, our conspiracies that Bill Gates is
Wait, so how would that be? Would Bill Gates be creating the Jellicle choice? like, because it's a talent show. Bill Gates has set up a Jellicle choice. No, Bill Gates has set up the
conspiracy is choice. That it's not microchips because that's solid. It's not the liquid that you claim. It's actually air. It's gas. He's trying to create the
gas to fill his hot air balloon, so that he can make a choice as to who to send into the sky. He'll make his Jellicle choice. So what he's doing is he's taken a play from the good book. He's using this gas to fill a hot air balloon that he will make a choice of who is his favorite crowdsourcer, and he will put that person into the hot air balloon and fly it into the sky. And he's calling it the Jellicle choice, much like cats. So it looks like he is
Bill. I'm just typing in Bill Gates Jellicle. How do you Jellicle choice? Bill Gates and the Jellicle choice. Yup. First thing, Melinda Gates and Bill Gates have been working on their crowdfunding. Interesting images.
Man.
So Bill Gates is dressed up like a character.
Old Deuteronomy. He always referred to himself as Old Deuteronomy, and which is Judi Dench's character in Cats, who rates the performances of the cats in order to make the Jellicle choice.
So you're saying that Bill Gates
that seems to be his ultimate goal here. I mean, I always kind of wondered why he never referred to me as Bridge, but he instead called me Skimbleshanks through our meetings. I always thought that was a little strange, and now it sort of makes sense at this point.
He's pulled a crowdsource on both of us.
He's pulled a trick on the world.
A genius.
Bill Gates.
Bill Gates.
He's at it again with his Jellicle choice.
Here we go. I'm deep on the web right now. I'm using the deep web here, and it's Bill Gates. He's dressed like a cat magician. He's on this hot air balloon. Wow.
Oh, wow. I mean, you go to Microsoft.com, and the main picture on the front of Microsoft page is him with whiskers winking with a hot air balloon in the background. How could we have missed this?
You know, they say that the truth is in plain sight, and I think we've learned that today.
The audacity to pull this out is pretty outrageous. I mean, it's interesting because in interviews he's referred to Elon Musk as Rum Tum Tugger several times. So I was always a little confused by that, but now it makes sense.
Oh, I just got an email. It's coming from Seven. He says he wants fuel for the hot air balloon. Oh gosh. Well, I'm going to send him some cash because I want to get on the hot air balloon.
Absolutely. I definitely want to be on. I mean, I'm not sure exactly where this hot air balloon is going, but I definitely want to be on it.
Yeah. I think we learned a lot today. Thanks so much for listening, listeners.
Yeah, that's number one rule of business. Sometimes you'll make mistakes. Sometimes you'll be tricked by Bill Gates dressed up as a cat. That happens to everybody. You just got to roll with the punches and keep on going. Hats off to Bill Gates and his tricks.